Guys, before you watch the fan cam, big shout out to our sponsors, Omely. It is the place for football fans to connect, not just with random football fans, but your favourite creators. You could be a Chelsea fan, you might even be an Arsenal fan. Everybody's on there. Download Omely, there's a QR code on screen, as well as a link in the description. Check it out, and I'll see you on there very soon. Hello everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're doing very well. I'm outside Stamford Bridge after a 1-1 draw against Arsenal in the Premier League. Charlie, what do you make about what you've seen?
I don't know, like mixed feelings really. I've had a bit of confidence coming into this game. Maybe we would get like a statement win against a top side, which we haven't had this season and we haven't had for quite a while now. And I was a bit disappointed, but at the same time, when we were 1 down in the second half, to get a point from that position, I am happy with that. We are into the top 3 now, but yeah, it's kind of just a bit conflicting feelings really, because I'm happy with the position we're in heading into the November international break, but I just feel like off the back of last week against United and going into this game as well, it's kind of been 2 missed opportunities to put ourselves in a more solid position in regards to the top 4, even though we're still in a good position. I just felt today we were a little bit toothless in attack. We made 1 poor defensive error and that cost us a goal, and in the big games it's fine margins, and we were on the wrong end of them fine margins today for the goal that we conceded. Luckily, for the second week in a row we got a little bit of individual brilliance through Pedro Neto this time to draw us level, but I don't really think we created enough decent opportunities. We had that one in the first half of Gusto where I think he should score that header and do a bit better. Other than that, mate, I'm struggling to remember any real decent chances that we had, so I'm a bit disappointed that we didn't create much in attack. I thought we looked a bit toothless. Didn't think Madueke was great, didn't think Jackson was great, didn't think Palmer was that good. Neto, again, like he was at Old Trafford, was our standout attacking player. So look, whilst it's not terrible, there were some good things, but there's still a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, it does remind me of a lot of the bigger games that you see where you think, right, these guys are going to go gung-ho, and it's totally the opposite. It's a much more tactical approach. We know we're going to get one chance. If we can take that chance and sit back, then we'll take the 1-0, and I think that's probably the approach from both sides, in fairness.
Yeah, it probably was, mate. I didn't think it was going to be a high-scoring game. I know that both sides aren't defending particularly well, but these big games, I know you have some anomalies with them in terms of high scores, but generally speaking, they're quite cagey affairs. Particularly when you're managed by 2 decent managers, it tends to be a bit more control in the game. It doesn't tend to be 2 end-to-end basketball type of games like we've been used to last season. I felt, the lineup was decent today. Not too many complaints. Took a big gamble not putting Reece James's bold call, and actually that worked out right. I thought Gusto was decent. It didn't really cost us in terms.
You're happy with Gusto then?
Yeah, I thought Gusto was good today, mate. I don't think that decision really had any negative impact on the game as such. The changes I felt were good. Maybe you could bring in Kunku on a little bit earlier, perhaps. But generally speaking, I felt the subs were good. I felt the game was managed reasonably well. It's just we didn't create enough opportunities, and we were a bit toothless going forwards, unfortunately. Which was the same at Old Trafford as well. We were quite toothless in attack there. So, whilst we've got quality in attack, it's 2 big games now where we haven't created that many opportunities, which I don't want to say it's alarm bells or anything, but that's something to work on after the break. We have got a more favourable run though, so maybe that will start scoring more goals after the international break. But yeah, it's a little bit disappointing that we haven't been able to create better chances in these last 2 games.
If you were to compare manager for manager, you've got Arteta and Maresca. Who had a better game individually today?
I think probably Maresca did, mate. Arsenal, I wasn't that impressed with them, all they were doing was putting balls in the box. That's literally what they were doing. It's obviously the first time we've seen them in the flesh this season. They just put balls in the box, mate. I wasn't really sensing much threat from them in open play. But a ball into the box or a set piece, you were a little bit nervy, a little bit on edge, given how strong they are, given that's probably one of our weak points. But I don't think Arsenal were particularly impressive today, mate. But they were probably good value for the point in the end. And arguably, they probably had the bigger and probably the better opportunities overall. They certainly created more opportunities than us. But you know what? I don't think there was much difference between the 2 sides today. And I think that's a credit to Maresca, but it also goes to show how Arsenal have dropped off a little bit this season as well. I thought Cucurella was outstanding today, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Having him back in the team, he deserved to be in the team. He didn't deserve to miss out the last couple of games when Maresca was experimenting with Reece James at left back. And he was brilliant today. Locked up Saka, kept Saka very quiet. I think he was man of the match as well. Brilliant performance, and again, such an underrated player. And him and Caicedo outstanding today, and really pleased with them. I thought Enzo was good as well. Enzo, when he come on, had a good cameo. He injected some impetus into the game. He gets the assist for Pedro Neto's goal. He made a few more things happen. This is the thing that we've been talking about, right? Is he looked fired up, and that's what you want. That's what you want from Enzo, making an impact when you come on. But this is the thing we've chatted about before, mate, in terms of the sacrifice you make when you play Lavia and Caicedo is you sacrifice creativity in midfield for a bit of a better balance and a bit more defensive stability. As soon as Enzo comes on, we looked a bit more creative in the middle of the park, and that's what you're going to get. But obviously, it's finding that balance of the trade-off. So I don't know if going forwards, away at Leicester after the break, for example, is that a game that we should be starting Enzo Fernandez in? Do we really need Lavia and Caicedo away at Leicester City? I don't know, but that's the trade-off you've got to have, and it's good to have those options. It's good to have players involved. So I think he deserves a bit of credit for his cameo today, because he has come in for quite a bit of stick recently, so it's only fair to praise him when he has done reasonably well. So,
what about Lavia's performance?
I thought it was all right first half.
I personally thought it was probably the worst performance I've seen from Lavia. And that's not to say it was terrible, but by the standard set.
For the goal that they score, by the way, he loses the ball to Odegaard in the build-up, which starts to it all. So that's a bit disappointing there. It probably wasn't one of his better games in recent weeks, but he's still young. He's still 20 years of age. He's still played very few games at a football club. So he will get better and better. But yeah, it probably wasn't his best game, if we're being totally honest. And you look at it and we're sitting third going into the break, delighted with that. But then you also look at it and you think, well, we've had one win in our last 5 Premier League games. Now, I know there's been some tough fixtures and stuff. When you look at it that way, it's mixed feelings. So we're third in the league, which is great. But then we're also only 1 win from our last 5, which is not so great. So, yeah, after the break, we've got slightly more favourable fixtures. Leicester away, Southampton away. Obviously, Villa at home and Spurs away. You never know what's going to happen in them. But, yeah, I think we have to be very happy with the position we're in right now. But today was just... yeah, mixed feelings. I think it's just another missed opportunity for us.
Yeah, I do feel like when we looked at Arsenal originally, we thought, right, it's going to be this big game, they're pushing for the title. We're actually competing for the same thing this season, and that's top 4, because I don't see them catching up with Liverpool. I think City will probably get some momentum at some point, and the way Arsenal are playing, it just doesn't look sustainable if you're going to win week in, week out.
Mate, if you're going to win the title, you have to come to games like today, and you have to win. That's what you need to do if you're going to win the title. So, yeah, I don't see them as title contenders. I think that's them out of the race now, because as recent years show, you can't afford to drop 9-10 points behind teams in the race, because Liverpool's and Man City's are relentless, mate. You can't afford to do that. So I think they probably are done. And for us, we're still very much in a top 4 race. We could, look, if we'd won today, we would have put ourselves in a better position. If we'd picked up a few more wins from those games that we drew, we would have been more solid in our top 4 place. But today's result doesn't change the fact that we're still on course to finish in the top 4. And I'd say we're favourites to finish in the top 4 right now, based on what we're seeing from Spurs, based on what we're seeing from Villa right now. I would say we're favourites to finish top 4 right now.
Put us maybe third?
No, I'd say I put us 4th still, but I think we're favourites to finish in the top 4 for sure. But we just got to start converting some of these performances into wins now. And after the break, I'm expecting us to get some wins on the board, because as I said, 1 win in the last 5. We need points on the board, mate.
What about Robert Sanchez? Is it the end of the road for him, or is this still too early to tell? Because Maresca's really put 100% faith in this player.
Well, it should be end of the road, mate. It should have been end of the road weeks ago, but we know that's not going to happen. We know he'll be in goal against Leicester after the break. Today, distribution poor at times, not his worst. I just think for the goal, it's so poor from him. Yes, Colwell plays them all onside, but the ball's played into the box. There's 2 players free in the box. Why is Sanchez rooted to his line? Why is he not coming out to try and get that? And then secondly, he's beaten so easily at his near post. As a goalkeeper, you can't be beaten at your near post like that with that ease.
So it's not just the distribution, it's his general goalkeeping ability in terms of saving shots.
Well, today it was. You can't be getting beaten at your near post like that. I'm sorry, you just can't. So that was disappointing from my point of view. And yeah. It wasn't his worst game, but again, it's another big moment in a game that he's involved with that's cost us a goal. Beaten at the near post, didn't come out and try and deal with the danger, gave the penalty away at United last week. How many more mistakes that lead to goals are we going to have to see from this guy until we make a change?
I'm with you there, man. Thanks so much, Charlie.